Breaking updates coming in as far as the situation, the tense situation remains between Ukraine and Russia. In fact, the West has now issued a warning to Russia against invasion. Reiterating its stand, President Joe Biden has tweeted, and I quote, "Russia can still choose diplomacy. It's not too late to de-escalate and return to the negotiating table. We will hold Russia accountable for its action. The West is united and resolved, and we are ready to impose severe sanctions on Russia if it further invades Ukraine." So that's the latest tweet coming in by the US president, warning Russia of any invasion of Ukraine. So making its stand absolutely clear and setting out a warning to Russia to de-escalate from the Ukraine borders. In fact, the tweet by Biden further says that the United States and our allies and partners will support the Ukrainian people. We will hold Russia accountable for its action. The West is united and resolved, and we are ready to impose severe sanctions on Russia if it further invades Ukraine. So there we have the President Biden issuing a very stern warning to Russia, saying that any attempt to invade Ukraine would be dealt very strongly by the West. And of course, the US leading that bandwagon of the West against Russia. In fact, Biden also said that he said, and I quote, "I spoke today with the transatlantic allies and partners to discuss Russia's military buildup in and around Ukraine. We agreed on our support for Ukraine to continue diplomatic efforts and affirmed our readiness to impose massive costs on Russia should it choose further conflict." So there we have the Biden telling Russia not to invade Ukraine and also saying to de-escalate from the Ukraine borders, telling that the US will hold Russia accountable for its actions and that the US is ready to impose severe sanctions on Russia as well, reiterating the stand of the West, warning Russia that it's still not too late to return to the negotiating table and that the diplomatic channels are still open. It remains to be seen if Russia actually de-escalates from the Ukraine borders. Remember, Russia has maintained that it has de-escalated and that it has no plans of invading Ukraine. But of course, the US reiterating its stand that Russia has all the plans to invade Ukraine, that given the fact that Russia continues to deploy its troops at the Ukraine borders. In fact, remember earlier, Ukraine's top security official also accused Russia of staging provocations in conflict-hit eastern Ukraine to try to provoke Ukraine's military to respond. And of course, adding that Ukraine would stick to peaceful ways to defuse the crisis. And now United States warning Russia against invasion of Ukraine, saying that US will hold Russia accountable for its actions, and also saying, making it absolutely clear that the diplomatic channel is still very much open.
This is Patrick Lancaster with a special report for Republic Media Network. Right behind me is part of an electric substation here in the anti-Ukraine government DPR-controlled territory. Now, this morning, Ukraine forces fired shells, artillery shells, from Ukraine-controlled territory. Right in that direction, they are just over a kilometer, and then in that direction, they are about 600-700 meters, and we could see the impact that the shell caused on the top of this substation. Now, this is a residential area. We can see the residential homes, and they're so close. Ukraine forces definitely saw that this is a residential area. They know this, and they targeted the civilian infrastructure. So this is not really a good thing, but this is what happens on a sometimes daily basis in the Ukraine war. I'm Patrick Lancaster, and I'm here with you with a special report for the Republic Media Network. And right behind me is this electric substation, which was hit by a shelling this morning. Now, we're in anti-government controlled territory, and just across the ledge in that direction, and in that direction is Ukrainian-controlled territory. And they can see us from here. They can see this electro substation and know that they fired on this substation and made this whole village without electricity. And they continue to do this on a daily basis. So there's no question that this substation was targeted by Ukrainian territory. There's so much rhetoric going back and forth now on the ongoing situation between Russia, Ukraine, and the West, but the civilians here are paying the price. I'm here in Donetsk, the anti-Ukraine government, Donetsk People's Republic, as it's called, territory, to show you exactly what's going on in the situation here. So we're going to bring you all the breaking news as it comes. But for right now, there's a village without electricity because Ukraine opened fire on their electric substation on the edge of the town. I'm Patrick Lancaster, and right now I'm coming to you from the area between Yasenovata and Gorlivka with a special report for Republic Media Network. And right behind me, you see an impact crater on the top of this building here, this residential building, a home here in the village of Verkhny Tretskaya, which translates to above the river. And just in that direction is Ukraine positions just over a kilometer, and you can see that the impact was made here and it was launched from those positions there in Ukraine-controlled territory. Now, also in this area, there's been an electric substation that's been hit, and this whole village is without electricity. We're going to go forward and investigate that as well, but we're here on the ground to verify these reports, so we're going to bring more and more information, these breaking news reports to you. And this has been a special report for Republic Media Network, and we've shown you exactly what's happened here today, where the shells came from, and what the authorities had to say about the situation. But this is a clear indication that Ukraine is targeting the infrastructure of this anti-government controlled territory.
Находимся на Турецкой Нижней. Сегодня в 8 утра произошел обстрел очередной, попадание по частным секторам и также по подстанции. По подстанции регулярно сюда работают, пытаются ее зажечь, пытаются ее уничтожить, для того, чтобы мирное население осталось. По жилым домам также фабрики регулярно работают, которые рабочие фабрики. Без погибших, да. Без погибших, без раненых. Обострение последней недели у нас. Обострение обстрелов происходит больше, с каждым днем все больше. Работают 120-й минометы, 82-й минометы, СПГ, АГС, также крупногабаритные пулеметы и также снайпера работают. Снайпера работают все равно, гражданские, военные, работают по всем. Ну, все тут. Командир подразделения ДНР все тут.
Можно еще раз. Можно представиться себя?
То же самое, ориентировочно. Ребята просто не смогли подойти.
Глава Верхнеторецкой поселковой администрации Павлов Сергей Анатольевич. Сегодня в 8 часов утра был обстрел подстанции Раздольная. Было повреждено трансформатор был поврежден, линия электропередач. В данный момент около 800 осталось без электроснабжения. Поэтому еще хотелось бы добавить, что как бы эта подстанция у нас, она одна, которая питает поселок Красный Партизан и ПГТ Верхнеторецкая. И как бы ее постоянно обстреливают, она постоянно у нас находится в зоне обстрела. И часто жители этих прифронтовых поселков остаются без освещения.
Откуда это стреляет?
Ну, у нас откуда стреляют? Стреляют со стороны Верхнеторецкого, там, где сейчас находится ВСУ.
Ага. И как вы подумал, почему украинские войска стреляют на электростанцию или частный сектор?
Ну, дело в том, что это как бы всегда задавался этим вопросом. Почему? Потому как непонятно, что всегда у нас страдает линия электропередач, инфраструктура. Цель этого я не могу вам объяснить.
Как вы думал, как долго война будет еще?
О, ну этого точно никто не может сказать, как она будет долго, когда она закончится.
Иногда ходишь, что в огороде пиш-пиш, и над головой пролетали пули. Вот, а так, вот такое случилось. Не знаю, еще чего-то ждать. А потом слышали вот там, вот, ну, я читала уже в интернете, на юге Горловки какой-то бой шел. Вот я